it's Nicole from Charis Realty here in Frederick County, and today I'm going to talk about dual agency. In Maryland, you have a fiduciary interest to represent either your buyer or your seller. And what that means is that you have to absolutely negotiate on their behalf and maintain confidentiality around anything that relates to either your buyer or your seller's interests. Now, you can only represent, and note I'm using the word represent, either a buyer or a seller in Maryland. However, say I am representing my seller and I have my fiduciary interest to my seller, and somebody that I know or somebody comes unrepresented to an open house and they want to buy my seller's property. Now they're unrepresented. What I am allowed to do in Maryland is I'm allowed to essentially do their paperwork for them. And that means that I'm allowed to provide ministerial acts. So I cannot represent their interests the same way that I represent my seller's interest. If they ask me something about the neighborhood, I've got to tell them, you've got to go and find out about that. If they ask me whether it is a good price on the home, I cannot answer. They've got to go and do their own research. What I can do is I can do the paperwork for them based on what it is that they tell me they want out of this transaction, and then I can present it to my seller. And I can give my seller as much information as I want because I'm representing their interests. So if there's something that I learned through the transaction that would benefit my seller, that is my duty. So where dual agency happens is where you have somebody representing the seller and somebody who represents the buyer who work within the same brokerage. So say we're both working in Charis. I have a property up for sale, another Charis agent brings their buyer, and now suddenly we are in a dual agency situation if we accept their offer. Now what happens is, technically, my broker, Christy Eisler, becomes the dual agent, and me representing my seller and the other agent representing their buyer become intra-company agents. In Maryland, we still have to represent our different parties' interests. So it is not the case that just because we are in the same brokerage, suddenly our affiliation goes just to the brokerage. My affiliation would still be to my seller. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that alleviates any concerns for anyone who has been wondering about whether or not they should sign the dual agency agreement. Do give me a call on 301-305-5169 if you'd like to find out more.